So today, we're diving into something pretty amazing. It's a guide to one of Shakespeare's most famous plays, King Lear. But here's the kicker. It's not for college kids. Nope. This guide is for sixth graders.
Which, immediately brings up this huge, almost impossible question, right? I mean, King Lear, it's brutal. It's one of his darkest plays. So how in the world do you break that down for a 10 or 11-year-old and make it mean something to them?
So yeah, let's just lay it out. The Shakespearean challenge. We're talking about madness, betrayal, and 10-year-olds. It's about taking these huge, messy, painful human emotions and trying to hand them to kids who, let's be honest, just haven't lived through that kind of stuff yet.
I mean, just look at this list. Familial betrayal, going mad, extreme cruelty and violence, this overwhelming grief, the corruption of power. This is not exactly your weekend cartoon lineup. It's serious stuff. Daughters betraying their dad, a king completely losing his grip on reality. It's a lot. A real heavy lift for anyone, never mind a kid.
And this is where our guide comes in, this Year 6 booklet from 7 Pillars International School. And honestly, it is a masterclass. It's brilliant because it doesn't pretend the dark stuff isn't there. Instead, it's like it hands the students a map and a flashlight and says, okay, let's go through this together.
So how do they pull it off? Well, the first thing they do, and this is so smart, is they create a map. They give the students a clear structure for what would otherwise be a really confusing and overwhelming journey.
And it starts with the absolute fundamentals. They literally define tragedy right up front. Just think about that for a second. Before you even get to page 1 of the play, everyone is on the same page. We all know this story is probably not going to have a happy ending. And that's okay, because that's the whole point.
And here is that map, in action. The whole play, which can feel so massive and sprawling, is just, boom, broken down into 5 clear acts. Act 1, Act 2, you get it. It takes what could feel like a total mess and turns it into a straight line. You can actually see the road from the beginning all the way to the tragic end.
Okay, so a map is great, but it's just the start. This is where the guide really shines. It's in the modern tools it uses to make Shakespeare feel, well, relatable, even in the 21st century. It's all about bridging that 400-year gap. Just check out this comparison. It's perfect. On the left, you've got the teacher's summary, using words like illegitimate and inherit. Pretty complex stuff. But on the right, for the students, it's so much simpler. Edmund begins his plot to trick his father against his brother. See? Same core idea, but the language is direct, it's simple, it just gets right to the point.
And this isn't just a one-time thing. They do this for every single act. It's this brilliant 4-step process. First, teach the tricky vocabulary. Then, give them that simple summary. Next, ask really good questions to make them think. And finally, let them run wild with creative activities. It's a rhythm, It makes the whole thing feel manageable, which builds so much confidence. And the activities themselves? Oh man, they are so cool. We are way past just writing boring essays. They're using ChatGPT to write diary entries, Perplexity AI to do research. They're creating Twitter threads for the characters, making comic strips on Canva. It's all about meeting these kids right where they are, using the tools they already know and love.
Let's just stop for a second and let that sink in. All of this, all these really smart analytical things are for Year 6 students, 10 and 11-year-olds. It just goes to show you what young people are capable of when you give them the right tools and the right structure.
Okay, but what about the really hard parts? The madness, the cruelty, the violence. I mean, how do you even begin to talk about that? This is where the guide makes this incredibly important shift, away from just what happened and towards empathy.
First off, it doesn't sugarcoat it. Look at this quote from the teacher's summary of Act 3. It says Cornwall brutally puts out Gloucester's eyes. Wow, it's direct, it's honest. The guide isn't trying to hide the brutal reality of the play. But then, right after that, it does something genius. It pivots. The focus instantly moves away from the gory details of the violence and zooms in on the human feeling behind it. The whole conversation changes from what happened to, wow, how must that have felt?
And they do it with this incredibly simple but powerful question. They ask the students straight up, if you were Gloucester, how would you feel? All of a sudden, it's not some dusty old play anymore. It's personal. It forces you to imagine that pain, that betrayal, and that is how you teach empathy.
So, what's the end game here? What's the big lesson? Well, the guide's ultimate goal isn't just to get the kids to the end of the story. It's about helping them find the big, universal truths hidden inside all that tragedy.
And you can see that in the final assessments. This is not some pop quiz about who died in Act 5. No way. It's all about digging into the big themes: power, loyalty, justice. It's asking these kids to wrestle with the exact same ideas that we wrestle with as adults.
It all leads up to this amazing Venn diagram task. They have to compare how Lear and Gloucester suffer. And look at the level of detail here. They're not just saying they were both sad. They're talking about the difference between being blinded by flattery versus blinded by deceit. I mean, that is some seriously sophisticated thinking, but it's presented in a way that's totally visual and easy to grasp.
And it doesn't just stop there. In the classroom, they have to take what they learned and do something with it. They're asked to write a book blurb to convince others to read it, design a whole campaign poster about truth and loyalty, and then they have to take on that huge, timeless question: how does power corrupt?
So I want to leave you with a question that comes right out of the spirit of this guide. After watching a king make one terrible mistake and lose absolutely everything, what's one single rule for leadership that you would create? What can this 400-year-old tragedy teach us about our world, right here and right now?